Welcome to BikeBeat, and today we're taking a deep dive into the 2026 Kawasaki W175, a motorcycle that refuses to follow the crowd. In a market dominated by digital screens, aggressive styling, and complex electronics, this little Kawasaki quietly shows up with a completely different attitude. It's not chasing the latest tech fad or promising warp speed acceleration. Instead, it's offering something simpler, purer, and arguably rarer, a true retro riding experience with enough modern reliability to make it an everyday companion. When you first see the W175 in person, you notice the proportions before anything else. The stance is upright but relaxed, the wheels are wire-spoked, and the frame carries a teardrop tank that looks like it's been lifted straight from an old photo album. The round halogen headlight sits proudly without a fairing to hide behind. The chrome detailing on the mirrors and exhaust adds a little glint in the sunlight, and the painted fenders give you that unmistakable old-school silhouette. You can park this bike next to a row of modern nakeds and sport machines, and it will stand out not because it's loud, but because it's confident in being quiet. The engine is a 177 cubic centimeters, air-cooled, single-cylinder four-stroke, with a simple SOHC 2-valve setup. Kawasaki hasn't tried to squeeze every ounce of performance out of it. Instead, they've tuned it for smoothness, reliability, and ease of maintenance. The output sits at about 13 horsepower at 7,500 RPM and 13.2 Newton-meters of torque at 6,000 RPM. Numbers like these might not impress spec sheet warriors, but on the road, they translate into a bike that responds predictably to throttle inputs, builds speed in a linear, unhurried way, and doesn't intimidate newer riders. In city traffic, that's a blessing. You're not constantly feathering the clutch or worried about the bike surging forward unexpectedly. And if you're an experienced rider, the W175 offers a kind of mechanical honesty that's refreshing compared to high-strung engines. You can hear every beat of the single cylinder, feel the rhythm in the pegs, and even smell that faint metallic warmth when you park it after a ride. The frame is a double cradle steel construction, the kind of setup that has been trusted for decades. It's simple, strong, and gives the bike a planted feel. Suspension duties are handled by a telescopic front fork and twin rear shocks. These are not adjustable race spec units, they're built for real-world roads, tuned to handle potholes, uneven patches, and speed bumps without unsettling the rider. If you push it hard over rough surfaces, you might feel the rear kick a little, but in day-to-day riding, it's comfortable and easygoing. The light weight of the bike, between 126 and 135 kilograms depending on the variant, makes it a joy to thread through tight city streets. You can slot into gaps in traffic, pull U-turns without stress, and park it in spaces that would frustrate larger machines. The ergonomics match the bike's easy nature. The handlebar sweep puts your hands in a neutral position, the foot pegs are placed for comfort rather than aggression, and the seat height, around 780 to 790 millimeters, ensures that most riders can get both feet on the ground. The seat itself is wide enough for comfort and has just enough padding for medium-length rides. If you do longer trips, a small aftermarket cushion could make it perfect. The fuel tank holds between 12 and 14 liters, which combined with the W175's excellent fuel economy. Around 45 kilometers per liter in real-world riding means you can cover serious distance between fill-ups. For a commuter, that's a huge advantage, and for weekend riders, it means more time on the road and less time hunting for a petrol station. Instrumentation is charmingly straightforward. You get a large analog speedometer that dominates the display, with a small inset LCD for the odometer and trip meter. No tachometer, no clutter, no overcomplication. The switchgear is solid, the mirrors offer a clear view without excessive vibration, and the control levers are light to operate, making it a good fit for long days in stop-and-go traffic. Braking is handled by a single disc up front with single-channel ABS, paired with a traditional drum at the rear. The ABS is a welcome safety feature, particularly for riders who might be new to motorcycles or who ride in wet conditions. The rear drum keeps things low maintenance and fits the bike's classic aesthetic. The tire profile is narrow compared to sport bikes, which keeps steering light and quick at city speeds. Race. Kawasaki has put effort into making the 2026 model feel fresh while keeping its retro identity intact. The W175 SA comes in metallic smoke gold and candy arsenic green, both rich colors that play beautifully with sunlight. The Cafe version sports Pearl Storm Grey and Pearl Crystal White for a sportier, slightly more modern twist, while the TR version, with its scrambler-inspired styling, gets a deep ebony finish that hints at rugged adventures. These colors aren't just paint, they're personality. Choosing a W175 variant isn't only about picking a bike, it's about picking the mood you want to ride in. Performance is relaxed. The W175 is happiest between 50 and 80 km per hour, a speed range where the engine hums without strain and the chassis feels balanced. Top speed hovers around 110 km per hour, and acceleration is unhurried 0 to 100 km per hour in about 16 seconds. If your goal is to dominate the highway fast lane, this isn't your machine. But if you want to enjoy the ride, feel connected to the bike, and not constantly battle the temptation to push into triple-digit speeds, the W175 delivers exactly that. The price is one of its strongest draws. In India, the 2026 Kawasaki W175 is expected to be around 1.55 lakh rupees ex-showroom, roughly $2,300. Global equivalents place it in the affordable retro commuter segment, with markets like the Philippines, Italy, and the UK seeing similarly competitive pricing. When you factor in Kawasaki's build quality, the brand's dealer network, and the W175's simplicity, you start to see why it's appealing for riders who want a dependable, stylish machine without draining their savings. Where the W175 really shines is in its authenticity. This isn't a retro-styled bike loaded with modern gizmos to trick you into thinking it's something it's not. It is, in its very bones, a simple motorcycle. The metal tank is real, the body panels are purposeful, and the mechanical nature of the ride is unfiltered. You get an electric start for convenience, fuel injection in certain markets for efficiency and cleaner emissions, and ABS for safety, and that's about it. No ride-by-wire, no traction control, no riding modes. Just you, the bike, and the road. For some riders, that's exactly what they're looking for: less screen time, more seat time. The riding experience is where this bike truly bonds with its owner. The engine note is a gentle thump rather than a scream. The clutch engagement is predictable, the gearbox shifts with a solid click, and the bike feels like it's encouraging you to explore without rushing. In traffic, it's nimble enough to filter easily. On back roads, it rewards smooth riding with an almost meditative rhythm. Even parking it and walking away, there's a satisfaction in glancing back at it, the kind of pride you get not from owning the fastest machine, but from owning one with soul. The 2026 Kawasaki W175 is not about revolution, it's about preservation. It preserves the essence of motorcycling that many feel is slipping away in the age of electronics and excessive performance. It's about starting the day knowing that your ride is as simple as turning the key, hearing the engine come to life, and letting the road decide the pace. Whether you're a beginner looking for your first bike, a returning rider seeking something easygoing, or a seasoned enthusiast who wants a second machine that's pure fun, the W175 fits that role effortlessly. It's affordable, reliable, and it has a style that doesn't need to shout to be noticed. In a world where motorcycles are often trying to be everything at once, this Kawasaki is content to be exactly what it is, and that might just be its greatest strength.